Believe it or not, but my current expense for transportation and food living here in Tokyo, Japan is less than half of what I used to pay living and working in Kingston, Jamaica. And to make it even better, the company that I work for covers the cost of transportation to and from work. So that makes my transportation expense barely minimal. Cool, huh? Hello, I'm Stevie and welcome to my channel. You know, as usual, I have to give a shout out to those of you who bother to watch my video, and a bigger shout out to those of you who spare the time to leave a comment, whether it's a nice comment, a mean comment, and sometimes I really don't know if it's a nice or a mean comment, but I really do appreciate the comments and the likes. I think the YouTube algorithm takes note of when people leave a comment on a video, and the algorithm pushes that video to more eyes. So it's good for me. It's good for me. So I really appreciate the likes, and if you have not done so as yet, please spare some time and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Okay, so today I want to share with you my living expenses as a single woman living here in Tokyo, Japan. I will share with you what I pay for food, transportation, bills, rent, entertainment and relaxation, etc. And let me just give a disclaimer from early that this is just a rough estimate and based on my personal life to give you an idea. I'm not saying for one bit that everybody's situation is the same. A matter of fact, let me tell you from now, everybody's situation is very different. And you should also bear in mind that I'm extremely frugal, meaning I'm very cheap. So, like, if I can get something, anything at a cheaper cost, I'm going to find a way to do so. Anyone knows me knows that my best days are the days when I get a really great deal while doing my favorite thing, shopping. So let's get into it. And the first thing that I want to talk about is residence tax. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how much my residence tax will be for this year. In Japan, you start paying your residence tax after the first year of living in the country, and the amount is based on your earnings and expenses from the previous year. So I've been living in Japan since August 2023, and my first residence tax came to a whopping 0.0 yen. Don't ask me how that happened, but I'm just glad it did. However, I know enough to know that next time I will not be so lucky. So for now, I'm just going to budget 100,000 yen for that expense and hope that it covers it. It could be more, but let's hope that it's less. And then again, the residence tax is a one-time payment for the year, so an annual payment. So I'm not going to allow it to factor too much into my budget since it's a one-time payment. I should probably also point out that the rate of the Japanese yen compared to the Jamaican dollars, for example, is pretty much more or less the same. But compared to the US dollars, it's way less. So $1 works out to about 157 yen at the time of recording this video. And I think going forward, I'll quote the figures in US dollars. So if I budget 100,000 yen to my residence tax, that comes up to about 635 US dollars. Okay, so a total of 44,000 yen or 289 US dollars is deducted from my salary every month. And this is what covers my pension, my employment insurance, health insurance, and income tax. So the next thing is my rent. And it really pains me to say this because I hate my apartment. It is way too small, way too old and creaking. There is no space especially in the kitchen to do anything. And I'm someone who cooks and values cooking. I just hate it. But anyhow, I pay 53,000 yen for my rent, and that comes up to 336 US dollars. Yeah, so that's my rent. Actually, it could be worse. It could be worse. So I'm not mad at it, but I hate the apartment. The next thing is food. I budget 30,000 yen each month to food. And this works out to 190 US dollars. The reason why I budget this much to food is because, or maybe this little to food, is because I don't really eat out much. I make my own food at home to take to work for my lunch. Actually, it would work out cheaper if I didn't do this, but I try to be in control of what I eat, so it's very important for me to prepare most of my meals on my own. I only eat out if I go out or when I go out with my friends or so. I hardly eat out, to be honest. Yes, I budget 190 US dollars to food, and it's not bad.
Now, for my bills in Japan, I pay for electricity, which is 3,000 yen or 20 US dollars. I also pay for water, but my water bill comes every other month. So I budget about 3,000 yen or 20 US dollars for my water bill per month because that's what it usually comes to. I also pay for gas, and in winter, this can be a little high. So I budget 5,000 yen or 32 US dollars for my gas payment. And finally, my internet bill, which is the most expensive of the bills here in Japan, is 6,000 yen or 40 US dollars. So that's what I budget for my bills here in Japan.
Okay, so let's talk about my biggest expense. This is another one that pains me to say because, believe it or not, my biggest expense is what I pay for the bills I have back home in Jamaica. So I still have to pay my mortgage, and I try to support my parents a little. And I also have partially an electricity bill that I have to pay for my house back home. So that actually comes up to 60,000 yen, which is 380 US yuan. All right, so transportation. As I said, my company covers the cost of transportation to and from work, and that's most of my transportation because I really don't go anywhere.
I do budget an extra 5,000 yen, which is 32 US dollars, for any additional travel that I may do for like when I'm going out or whatever I may need to travel for. I budget that money for that.
All right, so I budget an extra 10,000 yen, which is 63 US dollars. And I use this for what I call MISC. It's really for entertainment, but as I say, I hardly go out, but I do love shopping. So it's a mix of extra shopping and entertainment. Most of my entertainment is shopping. So I just call it MISC. But most of what I do with it is if I see something that I like, I go and buy it, or if I need to do some sightseeing, I use some of that money, or yeah. So that's like a general pool of funds that I use to entertain myself. Okay, so actually that's it. Those are my living expenses as a single Stevian living here in Tokyo, Japan. I hope this video was useful, and thank you so much for sparing the time to watch and to listen. And I really hope that it was useful. I really hope it gave you some idea of what some of the things can cost and what some of the expenses can be like. and it's pretty decent, I think. It's pretty decent for me, but it's still a little expensive. But you know, give and take. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye.